to spend all your time at the bar?
I'm coming, old man. I'm coming.
Boy, you are very rude.
Because, sir, following this take, I will own you. I got no respect for any man who challenges me, loses.
How do you know this isn't fate, son? How do you know it's not you that's going to go home a poor man?
Because I know what my cards are.
As do I, son, as do I, only I know what my cards are as well.
Strong words for an old fool like you, Sam. And as the adage goes, you will soon be part of your money.
Only time will tell, son. Only time will tell. Thank you, Maricel. Why don't you leave that bottle right here? Have a seat. You know, your father spoke above his game as well. Only, I believe good players keep their mouths shut. The devil can enter the soul through the mouth, you know.
You call my daddy a liar?
I'm saying your daddy played a vicious card game with the bluff.
My father was a match for any card player around. He took down his fair share of pots.
Calm down, boy, calm down. I'm only calling a spade a spade. I can see his fire lives on in you. It's true. Your father was a fine card player, and you had the makings of one too, young Hastings, only your father was a fine bluffer, something I fear you were not.
I've heard stories of you as well, Deuce Parker. You're a man who enjoys himself the thrill of a good wage or a bad bet.
Deuce Parker. I haven't heard that name in a long time. You know, your father and I went way back.
You knew my father on a professional level, Sam. You were not friends.
No, we were not friends. I was indeed his adversary. However, the fact remains, your father and I participated in the most famous hand of cards ever dealt in the round room.
Until now.
Yes, until now. However, in those days we respected our opponents. Winners sent losers to the bank and to the bar. Winners always bought the first and last shot of whiskey, and losers never left sober.
Then be prepared to drink and drink hard. Tonight, you leave a losing man, Sam Parker.
You have that fire in your eyes, Jake. But I know what you hold, boy, and you have not the slightest clue to my hand. Otherwise, you would have taken down this pot long ago.
You're lying. I know more than you think.
Quit your jabbering and play your hand.
You sure are in a hurry.
You're in a big hurry to run your mouth. Is this a card game or a conversation?
Sam. Before we're finished, I want you to tell me about the game. You were there. You played against my father.
How about it, Maricel? Shall we visit old memories?
Lest we forget.
All right, my boy. I'll tell you the honest truth, but I fear you will not like the ending.
Allow me to be the judge of that. I've heard the hearsay. My daddy taught me young, but he left soon after and never returned. My mama tried to keep the spoils from me. This is a cruel game we play, and I'm way too familiar with the slander. I want you to tell me how it really went. You were there. It was you who played against my father.
Fair enough.
Yep, there it is.
Your father, George Hardluck Hastings, played one hell of a card game. It was as if he had the power to control the flop, like he could will the cards in his favor. Because of that, many players refused him a seat at their table. Your father also had himself a gambling habit. Problem was, he seldom came out on the bottom of the deck.
That don't seem like a problem to me.
Well, so it would seem. But your father had a very dangerous affinity towards various pleasures. He would spend most of his time making bad bets, hanging out with badder women, indulging in alcohol, and his winnings fueled those desires.
We all enjoy some guilty pleasures from time to time. No man, especially in this room, is a saint.
My boy, I did know you were a poet. However, for most of us, our indulgences are not our downfall. Your father fell into debt with the wrong people and made some very bad bets. Several years into it, we met at the final table of a card tournament. Your father and I sat face to face across the table from one another. We battled it out right here in this very room, passing the stacks between us both. A crowd gathered to watch, and the money was passed back and forth like a cheap whore. Finally, we made it to our last hand.
What fell on the flop?
It was an ace of spades, 8 of clubs, and a jack of hearts. Your father had made himself 2 pair, aces over 8s, but it was an ominous hand.
You stayed in the hand. What did you have?
Well, I sat with deuces in my pocket. Your father tried buying the pot with a strong bid. I was unseasoned and loose with my stack.
Aces and eights? Might have been early for a large bet.
I thought so too, and I wasn't going to let him bull handle me into a fold. I bet strong and raised. Your father called. The turn card came out producing a diamond deuce, and I had made three of a kind. I was excited, but my poker face held, and your father sat to contemplate his next move.
Both strong hands. How did you know he didn't have a strong backer in the hole?
I didn't know. I couldn't know. But I sat on a strong hand myself, so I read his face and played the odds.
What came out on 5th Street?
It was a suicide king, king of hearts, an open maybe, but either of us could have had it straight. Your father then asked the dealer for some time for a shot of whiskey.
Player is always entitled and welcome to a drink in a tense situation as it was. Eases attention, clears the mind.
That's about when I noticed the two men. Their eyes followed them all the way to the bar. Their yellow teeth, and they smiled like they shared a secret. I felt something was amiss.
Did you say anything?
No, no one dared. These men were known, men of the law, but crooked as a diamond is red. They had the law on their side, and they made people disappear. They sent a drink over to your father and laughed, and he shot it back and returned to the table. Once back, your father proceeded to bet it all, but he never sat. One of the two men grinned eerily, hand on his hip, and as we showed our hands, I could see it in his face. He knew he had lost. He had played the dead man's hand, and I had won with three of a kind.
That's when he pulled his gun?
Your father was desperate. The two men stood up from the bar and approached. George pulled out his pistol and they theirs. That's when I knew this was planned all along. He promised them to purse to square their debts. Desperation is the enemy of sanity.
But players had to check their guns at the door.
His weapon, young Jacob, was acquired at the bar. The two men slipped into him by the way of the bartender as they sent him a shot of whiskey.
There were lawmen allowed to carry guns anywhere. That was brilliant.
That was stupid. Your father was immediately blacklisted and run out of town. He could no longer play in any card game anywhere. Your father smeared the name of your family. He was swayed way too easily by money.
Now you've gone and said too much, Sam. My father made a stupid decision. My family's name has been blacklisted too long. I will beat you tonight. It will not change what he did, but it will restore my name once and for all.
Well, by all means, son, it's your move.
Got any sixes?
Go fish.
Are you calling?
Boy! Oh, crap.
Are you calling my dad? Oh, you wanted to pause, sorry.
Action. Sorry, I'm not.
Hey! I'm the director, not you!
Alright, action!
Alright.
Cut.
Cut! Calling yours.
You guys are making me laugh.
The director.
This is the direction. What's got two thumbs in his...
Look for real.
I breathed in. I was talking to
You leave a losing man, Sam Parker.
Yep, I do.
Cut! You're gonna be on camera. Yeah, don't go back. We're shooting and walk right over.
Let that hunger come through in your ass.
The need for food.
I'm rolling. You don't have to make exaggerate, but just kind of
You hear my
notice
see
it.
my mouth?
That's what I said. If I'm ever at a baseball game and they put that thing.
This time. God, this stuff's nasty! That would be funny if she
Let's get into the mood.
sits down and smacks you and you just keep on going to them. I'm not ready for that.
Are we getting this on camera?
I'll grow up with
take
you.
4, take 5.
You're a filmmaker.
Spielberg, I never told there was
Yeah.
Cut! That was perfect. Can we do it again?